Good afternoon and welcome again to Hazelhurst Solicitors in Manchester. I have had a fantastic morning. The best part of the morning I have spent it seeing clients and having consultations. And the last consultation I had is what I want to talk to you about. It's about judicial review. Now, my client came in and asked me for advice on what he should do because his local authority has made a decision that he's not happy about, and he has tried to get the local authority to change their decision, but he's not been successful, and he thinks he's left with no option but to go to court. And he has identified his local county court, his local civil court, where he wants to start the proceedings. So he wants me to help with it. Now, when I finished the consultation with him and he realized that he cannot go to his local county court and that he is supposed to institute a judicial review process at the High Court. Now, he had never heard about a JR. He's never heard about a judicial review. So I thought I should, discuss this with you, and maybe some might not have heard of the judicial review process as well. So essentially, if you have a dispute with a private organization or a private individual, and you've tried and probably exhausted all the internal complaints mechanisms, and, maybe you've used some external alternative dispute resolution options like mediation, and basically you've tried to resolve the issue out of court unsuccessfully, and what do? You go to the normal civil court. So you would go to the county court, depending on the amount of money involved or the complexity, or maybe to a specialist court like the family court or a tribunal, as the case may be. So, but when it comes to public bodies, and that is where the difference lies. Now, when you're dealing with a public body or a public organization like a government department or a local authority or a regulator or a private organization, and this is important, a private organization that's been commissioned to provide a public service. So you may find some private organizations that are providing public services. So for the purposes of our JR discussion, such an organization would be classed as a public organization, just for the sake of the JR proceedings. Now, so with the case of my client, he's got this application he made locally with his local authority that had been refused, and all the appeal rights exhausted, internal processes exhausted. So basically, he had nothing to do. So I told him that, okay, if you are confident, which is going to depend on the details of your complaint and your issues with the local authority, then what you should be doing is going to the High Court and issuing a JR proceeding. Now, this was new to him, but again, it could be new to you. JR is a process that is open to individuals who've been affected in one way or the other by decisions made by public bodies, like I explained earlier, or decisions not made. So inactivity or not doing what they were supposed to do, or doing what they were supposed to do but wrongly. Basically, if you're not happy about actions or omissions by a public body, what you need to do is go to the High Court and issue a judicial review process. Now, but don't just go yet, because the JR process is something that is complex and serious. So it has to be taken seriously because you're engaging the High Court. Essentially, it is a complex process. there are pre-action, that's pre-issue proceedings that or processes that you have to follow. So the advice is engage a lawyer to assist with judicial review processes. I mean, you will get the most out of it if you engage lawyers, because like I said before, you're going to the High Court to ask the High Court to order a public body to do something differently or to stop doing something, as the case may be. Now, there are time limits with regard to judicial review applications. So take the case of my client. It happened 2 weeks ago, so it's within time, because you need 3 months within which to issue judicial review proceedings. So if the decision by the local authority or by a public body was made 4 months ago, you will be time barred from commencing a GR procedure. So time is of the essence. Now, with the case of my client, if he decides ultimately to instruct me to commence a GR procedure, I will start by studying further his claim to see if there are merits in it, because again, we can only commence a JR procedure if fundamentally there are merits in a claim, as the case may be. And then pre-action protocol. What have we got to do? We have to try to engage with the public body concerned and ask them to think again, because we are giving them notice that if they do not change their action or inaction, as the case may be, then obviously we'll go ahead and issue GR proceedings. Obviously, like any court proceeding, it is expensive, it is time consuming, so it would be worth their while to look at their decision again or their inaction to see if they can change something. So this pre-action protocol involves us writing a letter to the public body and giving them 14 days during which they will look into their decisions and or their lack of decisions and then reply to us. Now, if they come back to us and say, well, we cannot do anything, we're not going to change our position, then we will be in a position to issue a valid JR proceeding, to commence a valid JR proceeding in the High Court. So, because of the nature of JRs, obviously you want to consult your solicitor who specializes in JR proceedings to be able to help you on that. When my client comes back, because he's received all what he needs in terms of my advice as to what the options are with his dispute with his local authority, if he decides to come back and say, well, I want to instruct for you to commence proceedings, then we shall take it from there. And again, I promise I'll come back and share with you a little bit more with regards to what happened and what sort of timelines did we experience. So that's it for today. I'll speak to you again possibly next week. Bye from Manchester.